Okay, so we're still downtown, but we're right next to the main church that is in downtown Mexico City. And behind me here is actually a lot of the Aztec architecture that they just recently found. Last year they were excavating it when I was here, and this year they finally have been to the public. We're gonna see how much that is to go in, but as you can see, it's just a massive area of stuff that they actually just found. So since this is so recent, there's not really any knowing of how much they're actually going to find in this area. As you can see, there's this tent right here behind me. They're still excavating things, and they're still finding more and more stuff every day here. She hates the sun, so she's kind of grumpy right now. Hey, baby. You're not grumpy? You sure? So one of the major conflicts that they're having here in Mexico City is this church right here is absolutely beautiful, but it was built by the Spaniards by knocking down and building over all the Aztec architecture and the major temples that were here in the Aztec capital. The major conflict that they're having is trying to determine whether they should excavate closer to the church or anything like that. And the church is actually leaning a little bit with all the earthquakes and how old the church is, and the fact that this was built on a lake. The church is sinking in and just quite like to the side. You can actually look at it and see that it's leaning one way, almost like the Tower of Pisa. So they're really just trying to figure out whether they want to excavate near the church or not, because the structure of the church is not the most stable as it is. Inside of the big archaeological find that they just found, and right here where we're walking is a sewer that they built through here right in the 19th century. As you can see where the brick, it looks a lot different than this volcanic rock that's put together. So the volcanic rock was made by the Aztecs, but then you can see where the brick is where they built the entire sewer system straight through it. There's a lot of different metal tubing, like other stuff like that. Sacred temple of all of this entire area. This is where they did a lot of sacrifices. They did a lot of they did the burials, the funerals of very high up kings, as you would say. Sacrifices were held. This is the most sacred spot in Tenochtitlan. God, that's terrible. The main differences that we have is, in the United States, we tend to think of these as all Aztecs. All this was Aztec stuff to us. I thought it was too, and I recently learned that Mexicas are the actual people that, or is the technical name for them. Aztecs are the people that came and settled here in Tenochtitlan. Yeah. So those are the people that actually settled here, but then once they settled here, they became Mexicas. And that's what this entire city was built on. We decided to come through this because Kimberly here wants to study archaeology, and so she wanted to see how much it was, and I was like, no, we should just go through. And luckily all these places, such as this, I believe it was only 70 pesos each for us, which comes out to about $3.50. So it's not really much compared to a lot of the museums that we have. Up our day for the most part here in downtown. We kind of just finished up shopping. That's over to my left. There's a bunch of, you see that yellow building over there. There's a lot of little shops, pretty cheap. We got a lot of stuff. I'll show you that. I'll show that to you later. It's kind of like not a good spot to pull it all out, but this is kind of the central of the entirety of downtown. It's just a huge concrete plaza with a giant Mexican flag, in the middle right here. And as you can see, the main church is right behind me. And what surrounds the entire plaza is just a bunch of beautiful Spanish architecture, more so. A lot of old buildings, a lot of Mexican flags, and a lot of people come here just to relax. And there's some people playing soccer over there.